Welcome to this explainer. Okay, today we are going to completely flip everything you thought you knew about the UK's most famous cities. Seriously, just toss out those standard tourist brochures and the predictable sightseeing tours right now. We're leaning heavily into the weird, the quirky, and the mind-bending secrets that are literally hiding in plain sight. If you think you know classic British city breaks, well, prepare to have your perspective entirely rewritten.
So, let's just dive right into it. If I ask you to guess the absolute smallest city in England, what would you confidently say? Take a second to really think about it. You're probably picturing a tiny, picturesque cathedral town somewhere out in the rolling countryside, right? Maybe a quiet little village with a single pub and a cobblestone square. Just keep that idyllic image in your head for a second.
Because it's actually London. Well, actually, scratch that. It's specifically the City of London. This is a tiny, historic, 1 square mile portion of the sprawling Greater London metropolis, and it boasts just over 9,000 residents. Because it holds official city status all on its own, it creates this incredible paradox. The absolute heart of the UK's biggest, most bustling metropolis is, technically speaking, the smallest city in the entire country. Crazy, right?
That brings us to Section 1, London's biggest illusions. Let's rethink the capital.
First up, we absolutely have to shatter that gloomy London stereotype. Believe it or not, the city actually gets less annual rainfall than sunny Rome or even Sydney. Coming in at an average of just 23 inches of precipitation a year, that famous cinematic image of a constantly rainy, umbrella-filled London is honestly mostly fiction. So if you're packing for a trip based on the movies, you might want to swap out those raincoats for some sunglasses, because the data tells a completely different story.
And the illusions just keep coming, especially when we talk food. We all know London is incredibly diverse, but the sheer volume here is staggering. Just to put this in perspective for you, London boasts more Indian restaurants than Mumbai itself. We're talking over 3,600 Indian eateries spread across the boroughs. The cultural footprint here is absolutely massive, vibrant, and undeniably delicious. It's a true testament to how global migration has fundamentally reshaped the flavor of a capital.
Now here's a massive reality check that catches almost every single tourist off guard. Next time you're snapping a selfie on Westminster Bridge, just remember you actually aren't photographing Big Ben at all. That iconic Gothic structure towering over Parliament, that's the Elizabeth Tower. Big Ben is merely the name of the massive bell hidden away inside of it. You can hear Big Ben ring across the city, sure, but you were always photographing the Elizabeth Tower.
So, say you actually want to get around to see all these landmarks. You'd naturally think a modern global financial hub would have super efficient transport whisking you from point A to point B, right? Well, central London traffic speeds have plummeted to an agonizing average of just 7.8 miles per hour. It's a crawl that makes you wonder how anyone gets to their meetings on time.
Just to put that excruciating number into context, if you're driving in the capital today, you are moving at the exact same speed as a Victorian-era horse and cab. Despite all of our modern engineering, our advanced infrastructure, and high-powered sports cars, we're moving through the center of the city no faster than we did back in the 19th century. And hey, if you're brave enough to actually tackle that traffic, you've got to be incredibly careful at Savoy Court. Why? Because it's the only street in Britain where an Act of Parliament actively requires you to drive on the right-hand side of the road. Established way back in 1902, this quirky, legally binding rule was specifically designed to help American hotel guests navigate their horse-drawn carriages easily. It's just a tiny slice of American driving rules right off the Strand.
All right, heading north, we hit Section 2, Edinburgh's magical quirks. Let's talk penguins and Potter.
You probably know Edinburgh for its imposing castle, the bagpipes, and all that deep royal history. But did you know it's also home to Sir Niels Olaf? He's a literal king penguin who resides at the zoo and was officially knighted back in 2008. And he isn't just a cute honorary mascot either. This bird has his own impressive medal collection and formally inspects the Norwegian Kingsguard, waddling right down the line with absolute authority. It is wonderfully absurd, but an entirely real piece of modern Edinburgh life.
Beyond knighted penguins, the city is actually a very real anchor for the Harry Potter universe. That dramatic, Gothic skyline, it didn't just look picturesque to J.K. Rowling as she sat in local cafes, it provided direct, tangible inspiration. Winding cobblestone spots like Victoria Street heavily influenced the creation of Diagon Alley, and the spooky, highly atmospheric Greyfriars Kirkyard quite literally provided the names of beloved and feared characters etched right onto its ancient tombstones.
Heading back down into northern England, we arrive at Section 3, York's Haunted History, Time Travel in the North.
The layers of history in this city are absolutely staggering. I mean, this is a place that has been constantly conquered and reinvented. It evolved from Roman soldiers marching in and calling it Iberacum, to Saxons claiming it as Eoferwick, to fierce Viking warriors settling down and establishing Jorvik. And today, it proudly stands as Britain's home of chocolate and a UNESCO Creative City of Media Arts. It's this mesmerizing location where brutal ancient history and cutting-edge modern creativity directly collide.
And the craziest part is you can literally walk right through this layered history down a street called the Shambles. Widely considered Europe's best-preserved medieval street, its iconic timber-frame buildings show exactly what York looked like centuries ago. The buildings lean in so far they almost touch at the top. Honestly, walking down it feels less like a weekend city break and more like stepping straight onto a historic movie set, totally transporting you out of the 21st century.
Further west lies Section 4, Liverpool's maritime secrets, way beyond the Beatles.
When you look at Liverpool's waterfront, the skyline is famously defined by what are known as the Three Graces. These are three stunning architectural wonders at Pier Head: the Royal Liver Building, the Cunard Building, and the Port of Liverpool Building. Together, they don't just look beautiful, they project the immense maritime power, the global reach, and the undeniable wealth of the city's trading history across the oceans.
But here's the real secret. Hidden right below ground, completely tucked away from all that grand soaring architecture, is the Western Approach's HQ. This was an intricate, top-secret underground labyrinth that served as a critical nerve center for Britain's survival during the harrowing days of the 1940s. It was from this bunker that the Battle of the Atlantic was orchestrated. It's a stark, hidden contrast to those magnificent, peaceful buildings sitting right above it.
Let's bring it all together in Section 5, UK cities by the numbers, the scale of the secrets. To wrap up this explainer, we really need to look at the raw data. Because when you walk the streets of Greater London, the people around you probably aren't even locals. The city is completely overwhelmed by a staggering 20.3 million annual visitors, compared to just 8.8 million actual residents living their day-to-day lives there. That means the city truly belongs just as much to the rest of the world as it does to its own citizens.
And speaking of those 8.8 million human residents, it is wild how they share their sprawling urban space. Astonishingly, London is officially classified as an urban forest by the United Nations. It contains roughly 8 million trees scattered across its parks, streets, and gardens. If you do the math, that's essentially one tree for every single resident in the metropolis, completely redefining what a concrete jungle actually looks like.
And you know what else? Even the world-famous underground is kind of a massive lie told through numbers. Over half of the entire tube network actually operates completely above ground, right out in the open air. It's a secret hidden in plain sight. We all blindly call it the underground, we recognize the iconic subterranean signs, but the raw data says something completely different.
So we've shattered illusions about rainfall, we've met knighted military penguins, and we've explored top-secret underground war bunkers. So the very next time you visit a famous UK landmark or walk down an ancient cobbled street, you have to ask yourself, what is the real story they aren't telling you? What other mind-bending secrets are hiding in plain sight, right beneath your feet, just waiting to be uncovered?